One of the most common questions we get at closing is what is title insurance? Why do we need it? So today we've got Sara Zuschlag, attorney extraordinaire for Andrus Boudreaux Complete Title. Sara, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. Thank y'all for having me. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That's always a hot topic for me as well. So I get asked
Yeah.
that question all the time.
Yeah, I bet you do. And I always get the question whenever we send a loan estimate out because clients are like, what is title insurance? I don't want it, or I don't need it, or my realtor told me this, and my default answer is always, that is a title attorney question. So
So here you are.
I punt it back to you guys and let you answer those questions. So first question that I always get is, what is title insurance?
Well, bottom line is title insurance is insurance that protects your ownership interest in the land and home, building, structure, anything on the property that you are acquiring.
Mhm.
It is a
So,
protection to you that protects you for the entire time that you own the property, from the
right,
date that you acquire it through thereon.
right. So the next question I get after that answer comes is, well, isn't that the title attorney's job anyway? Aren't they supposed to check for issues?
So before you do that,
Absolutely.
what exactly does it cover?
Well, that's
So like it's what are the reasons that you would need these title insurance issues?
So yeah, to kind of add y'all's two questions together into one answer is, we review the public record. We review everything that we possibly can get our hands on to make sure that title is free and clear. However, there are plenty of hidden defects that exist. There's also forgery, fraud, things exist such as that, that we just can't
Yeah,
find in the public
there's
record.
no
We
way
have
you
no knowledge of. So it's things that we have no knowledge of or no way of ascertaining at the time of review and title that are later discovered.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's what it protects you from. And to double on that, on an attorney doing their job, yeah, you know, people make mistakes, absolutely. Attorneys can make mistakes, we're human, but malpractice, there's a time limit for 3 years in which you can sue an attorney for malpractice. But this protects you far beyond any type of malpractice that any attorney could, effectively happen during the review of title.
right. So when you buy a house, let me back up. When you refinance a house, you only have to get the lender's title policy. When you buy a house, there's an optional owner's title policy in addition to the lender's policy. So can you tell us the difference between those two options?
Absolutely. So a lender in the situation, they are taking on a lot of risks. They're loaning the borrower a lot of money. They want to make sure they're covered. A lender's policy covers the lender and their vested interest up to the loan amount. But that's it. It has no protection to the buyer whatsoever. So, from a lender standpoint, if there's any defects, any judgments later discovered, any liens filed on the property that would affect their, mortgage, they're going to be protected. So that's why the lender is always very smart in choosing to make sure that they have coverage in place. But an owner's policy, yes, it is optional. The- We can't force the buyer to be protected, but we can educate them and make sure that they know what all will cover them for to make sure they're also protected.
And so owner's title covers from beyond loan amount, I guess, till
For the
infinity,
full
so to speak. If maybe an interstate happens to run right across, I don't know, just something that would drastically cause the increase in value, and maybe there's a defect that pops up later on down the line, like you mentioned, like forgery.
The loan policy is going to cover for the lender for the loan amount. The
Hmm.
owner's policy is going to cover the owner for the sales price in which they purchased the property for.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, and just to be clear with everyone, if you purchase a home and you finance it, lender's title insurance is always required, but the owner's is not. But it's always a good idea to get it. So flipping a refinances, uh, owner's title isn't required because it was already potentially put in place at purchase, and there's no going back and getting it. But the lender's title policy does potentially come at a discount whenever you have a refinance. So can you talk us through that a little bit?
Yes, that's something we commonly call a reissue rate. So you lender already had coverage for that piece of property. You're refinancing the property. So we've already cleared title, essentially. We're taking a relook at the property again up to that date, assessing any and all risk, defects, but you get it at a discounted rate because it's already been insured.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
So, but to back up on your other statement about the lender's policy and the owner's policy, I think it's important for people to know about the simultaneous issue rate.
Yes.
And that is a huge benefit to an owner whenever you're buying property and borrowing for that purchase. The difference being that whenever you buy property and you borrow, if you get owner's title insurance, you get a discount on it. It's called a simultaneous issue rate. However, if you go and pay cash for a piece of property and get that same exact owner's policy with the same exact coverage, it's going to cost you more money. So it's just important to realize that whenever you are buying and borrowing, you do get the benefit of a discount on your owner's policy.
Right.
Gotcha. So who sets speaking of costs, who sets the costs?
Oh, definitely not me. That is
Right. Is it set by the state?
it is the Department of Insurance regulates the fees for each state. That is correct. So
Right. Yeah.
they set the fees, and we have a magic calculator that we
Right.
log into. We type in the numbers,
Same,
it
yeah.
spits out the quote to us,
Spits it
and we have no ability or control over those costs. They are what they are.
Yeah, I like being very upfront with my clients about that, who think, oh, it's too much. I mean, they're charging too much for it. I'm like, they as in the state, good luck with that. You know, it's not the title attorney. They're not in charge. So yeah,
They
that's
spit the number in the computer and then
a
there it
very
goes.
common misconception that I will immediately, overturn, because I know that's not the case. I know that is a fact.
I'm sure the homeowner's insurance and the car insurance people probably feel the same way. You put it in and just spits out the numbers. Yeah, you can't change the number. It's just what it is. So
Is there anything else noteworthy about title insurance that you come across often?
I think that it's always important to know you're making a large investment. It's for some people, it's one of the largest investments they'll ever make in their life. It's a one-time insurance coverage that
Yeah.
protects you for such a big investment that's for happy times and such. To me, it's almost like a no-brainer, like a why not? There's this small amount of money based on this large acquisition and what all it covers me from whenever it comes to forgery, seller impersonation, missing heirs. Hey, maybe there's somebody out there that inherited an interest in this property 5 years ago, but the other members of the family didn't even know that that heir existed at the
Right.
time. Things like that come about. It happens.
Yeah.
We have no way of knowing about it at the time you purchase it, but that person's rights don't go away just because you purchased the property. They still exist. So that's where title insurance really comes in and protects you just for the unknown. Some of them are far and extreme and bizarre, crazy stories, but some of them are just everyday things that happen.
What's the most common example of title issues that you see regularly?
Let's see. Title issues, as in
Or,
when I'm reviewing
that would make
title or
that would make you
claims.
say, oh gosh, I'm glad. Like in hindsight, I'm glad these.
or an owner's title claim
Right.
that
Yeah.
comes and saves the day. Maybe a better way to ask that.
Yeah.
There's been definitely seller impersonation has been a big thing that we've seen in the more recent years. Where there's been forgery on a power of attorney, where somebody shows up, has a legit power of attorney, claims to be representing the seller of the property, and they sell the property to the new owner and come to find out the actual seller of the property lives out of state somewhere, has no relationship with that person. It was just
That's been on vacant land a lot from what I've
correct.
been hearing. Yeah.
You are correct. Vacant land has definitely been subject to some of those types of transactions more recently than in times past, just because of technology and, all kinds of different things. But on a different note, a common thing you think about are liens. During the inspection process, somebody may end up hiring somebody to come and do some work on the property. They state that they paid them, but they might not be telling the truth.
Mhm.
So the person who did the work on the property has a right to file a lien on that property for not being paid for the work being done. So that's a big risk, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And new construction and stuff, there's some good, business procedures that are in place for people to get lien waivers and such. But on just your standard residential purchase, that's not a new construction, and somebody comes and does work, that person has a right to file a lien on the property, and this could protect the owner in that case.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's true. People that have, this could be probably more prominent on homes that are being flipped
Yeah.
potentially. Contractor ran out of money, closes, didn't wrap up whoever was doing the last, little bit of subcontractor work that's out there. I
Mhm.
can definitely see how that would happen. Very interesting.
Another thing is easements. For example, I know you mentioned something about an interstate. I know that's kind of a,
Yeah,
big easement, a big project to
random.
come on. But let's say rural property where you may have, access easements to property or just a right of way. Or, you know, grandma and grandpa live next door and they gave their grandkids that live next door the right, this easement to use their property to come to and from, for
Or a fence
however
line is off
long.
a little
Yeah.
bit here or there.
Correct, but maybe that easement's not in writing. Maybe it's something that's been practiced for years and years and years, and it's not listed in the public record.
Mhm.
Well, that adjacent property owner that's been using that easement for 30 plus years, their rights don't just automatically dissolve because grandma and grandpa passed away and the property was sold.
Mhm.
Those rights to use that property arguably still exist.
They've been common
So
practice for years. So yeah.
correct. And
Right.
so that's where it is a scenario. It's important to know that while lawsuits may have to be involved to protect your interests, the title insurance policy that protects you. That is who pays for the attorneys to fight for your right to keep your property, to continue to use it and enjoy it. So it's not just about writing a check in the event something happens. It's people stepping up, going to bat for you, going to court for you, protect your
To help you
ownership
keep your home.
interests.
The,
Absolutely.
the amount of money that the fee costs for owner's title doesn't even sniff a small percentage of the retainer it's going to cost to hire somebody to.
Right.
Absolutely.
And depending on the loan amount and purchase price, we're talking about a few $100s in
Yeah.
cost.
Yes, absolutely. Because
Drop
like
in
you said, you won't even get your foot in the door for an initial consult in the event that litigation were to arise if you don't have the title policy. If you have to come
Mhm.
out of pocket, that amount is going to be much larger than what your initial policy ever costs.
Right. Yeah.
Is there in the event you have to file a claim on owner's title, that's it. There's no extra. Is there any extra fees that's attached to it, or is the policy fee it?
The fee is it. That is what protects you. That's where the big guys, the big top shot attorneys that make a lot more money than me, they step in to come and, go and fight for your right, and there's no
Right.
fees associated with it.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for spreading the
The
word
truth.
and the truth about the owner's title stuff that's out there. I
Hey,
don't know about loves
absolutely.
to pay for
Always
insurance,
kick
but at
those
the end of the day,
calls.
that's what it is. You don't need it until you need it. So,
Yeah.
Hey, it's the
oh boy,
same
you're
as
glad to have
any
it when you
type of
do.
insurance out there. It's one of those things that we hate to pay for it, but when we need it, we're glad we have it. That's for
Right.
sure.
Ain't no doubt. Ain't no doubt.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well,
Sarah, where
look,
can
I
they
tell
find
y'all,
you?
thank y'all for these phone calls that y'all send me because trust me, when I get those phone calls that are like, what do I do about this? And oh, how much, what are the interest rates? I'm like, oh, call Tracy.
Hold on.
Let
Hold
her
on.
tell you about that.
And I'll tell you something, I don't hear it as much anymore, but something that really irks me and probably irks you too, and this isn't every realtor, but when the realtor says, you don't need it, don't buy it. I'm like, oh, if something happens and you have 8 witnesses at this closing table, like stay in your lane. Like you're not the expert on this. The person who is sitting 3 feet away from you. Let them do their thing. That is a huge pet peeve. So, realtors,
Well, it's not only
put
a
yourself in
huge,
that position.
not only
asking for help.
that, it's a huge danger that the realtor's putting themselves in.
Right.
They're giving their client legal advice. And let me tell you what, if that buyer doesn't buy title insurance and a big issue comes up and things go to court, I can guarantee you that realtor's getting sued as part of
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's
not
a
worth
huge
it.
risk. It's not
Don't
worth it.
don't pretend to be a hero and tell people what they want to hear. That stinks. Anyway.
Ain't no doubt. Sarah, where can they find you?
You can find me right here in my office here in the Hancock Whitney Bank Building in Camellia
Yay.
Boulevard. Yes, on the 4th floor at Andrews Bujo Complete Title.
Yeah.
Please give me a call for anything real estate related. I'm happy to help service your clients and answer any questions, especially about title insurance.
Yep.
Love it. 337-984-9480. That's right. I got it.
That is correct.
Awesome.
Thank you,
All right.
Sarah.
Sarah,
Thank
thank you so
y'all.
much. See you next week.
Bye.